Hi there, this is Amanda Frankel with Our Crafty Playdate, and I am in love with this paper. I have to tell you, I often find myself in love with paper, but there's something about this particular one. It is Fine Art Floral, and it is in our new mini catalog. It's not so new anymore, and it's right here, and I love it. It's gorgeous. But sometimes I don't love paper. Sometimes I get it and I think, not really my style, but I use one or two pieces of it and then maybe I don't like all of it. So today we're going to use beautiful paper for a technique, but this technique is awesome with ugly paper too. And you all know who I'm talking about. All right, but today we're going to use this beautiful paper and we're going to use a couple other things. We're going to use gold foil sheet. We are going to use adhesive sheets. If you've never used these before, you're going to be in love. I'll show you why, because I'm lazy. And we are going to do a technique today called herringbone. And mine may be, what did I get on there? Mine may be a little different than what you decide to do. You can do a different pattern, but I'm going to show you what I did here. This is just with scraps. It's just a couple of scraps. So when you get to the end of a pack of designer series paper and you just have a little piece here and a little piece there, that's what this works really well for. I just cut a piece off here and that's what I'm using today. So we'll show you. But it's just when you have these extra little strips of things, like let's say, for example, you were making a card and you wanted to have a panel. Because, you know, when you make a card, let's see here. When you make a normal size card, let's make the base here. By the way, I am making this video primarily for my team, the Playmates, the Crafty Playdate Playmates, because this is their creative challenge for the month. And they are going to post these in our page, all the different ones that they decide to do with the different papers that they do. And then we are going to draw for a prize. So if you want to be a Playmate, definitely let me know and we can work something out. I know how to hook you up, but this is for my team to learn the process. Okay, so if you have a normal panel of a card and then you're going to cut the little panel, say, that fits on there, you know, it's a 1/4 of an inch smaller. When you originally cut it, you're going to cut it straight from the 8.5 by 11 and cut off a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch on that side, and then it's 8 by 10.5. And then you cut that in half, but you end up with these strips, right? These are perfect for using on various cards. So you want to hold on to those. Just put them all in one place. Have a little box of all these strips. And then you can use this to fill in with your designer series paper. We're not using that color. Okay. So here's how you're going to get started the lazy way. There's a good way and there's the lazy way, and I'm the lazy way kind of person. All right, I am going to use this color. This is Mary Merlot, and it matches this paper. And the way I know that it matches the paper is it says it matches the paper right back here. So then I know I'm going to be good. It's all going to be good. And this is the panel that I'm going to use. It is 4 3/4 by 3 3/4, and it does not the challenge cards that people are going to make, they don't have to be my measurements. You don't have to use the same strips that I used, same paper. You don't have to use the same width of strips because a variety of widths is kind of cool too. This is a different variety. So you can definitely use that. And then this is just 4.5 by 3.5. So it's a 1/4 of an inch smaller than this piece. And the whole thing, I wanted a little bit wider white rim on here because it's kind of busy. I didn't add a sentiment on here because I wanted my team to see how it goes together so that then they could make their own. All right, so we're gonna get started on making this top panel. And I'm gonna move all this other stuff. We don't need that right now either. Okay, so all I have is my white piece here and then a bunch of these strips. This is the coordinating color. This is the Mary Merlot. So when I trimmed this down from its original 8.5 by 11 length, I kept all these pieces and I just cut them up. This is a 3/4 piece, I believe, of gold that I'm using, the gold foil paper. And I'm using a 3/4 inch strip. But again, this could be your odds and ends that you have left over at the end of a project. That could be these two. But this one's 3/4. And this one is 1/2 inch. It's the same paper, as you can see, but I'm going to flip it over and use the other sides of these papers sometimes. Okay. And this one actually, yeah, is actually this one. It's in the same kit. It's in the same package. It's just a thin strip of it. I really could have gotten away without it and just used the one kind because it's got the front and the back. That would have been fine. But in this case, I used a couple pieces because I had them laying around. All right. So in general, to do this, I could just take my handy dandy, used to be called snail. Now it's called, I don't know, something runner adhesive, and put some on the back here and stick it on a card like this, right? But to be the fast, lazy way, I am going to take one of these adhesive sheets, and they don't look like this anymore. We don't use this brand anymore, but Stampin' Up! Still carries these, and they're in the annual catalog. They are in the annual catalog, but in a weird place, so I wanted to show you. They're back where the machine tools are for the Big Shot. They're here, called adhesive sheets. Oh, you're going to love them. While I'm cutting this, I will tell you, the reason you're going to like these is if you're ever cutting small word dies, then that's definitely the way to go. Okay, so I need it the same size. So what did I say? 4.5 by 3.5. So we're going to do this. We're going to cut this at 3.5. And put this aside. Now these little scraps are gold too. So 4.5. This one is 4.5. Okay, so this little piece that I have cut off here, this is gold, really gold. So put it right back in your package of paper and save these little pieces, because if I want to cut out a thin word that says happy, you know, happy birthday, it says really thin, scrolly word, I'm going to stick my cardstock right on here. Put that right on there, run it through the Big Shot, and then when I take it off, I just peel that off, and now it's a sticker. And if you don't believe me, you can look back a couple of videos, so subscribe, but you can look back a couple of videos, and I did it with the word coffee, so you can see how to use that adhesive sheet. Okay, so now I'm going to put that away. Now I've got this and my white piece, and I'm going to just stick it together. So you just have to. I'm going to go off camera here to find the corner so I don't make everybody dizzy. Okay, I peeled off one side. Now this side is sticky and this side is not sticky. And my thumb is sticky and this finger is not sticky. Okay, and I'm just going to put it down as carefully as possible on here. If it hangs off a tiny bit, it's gonna not be a problem. And you just rub it on. You can even just take your bone folder and just burnish it a little like that. Perfect. And now this is the shiny side. This is my cardstock. I'm going to just peel this off, throw it in the garbage or on the floor, as the case may be. And now my cardstock is sticky. Okay. Now I don't need to put adhesive on every strip as I'm doing it. It's just going to work. So you're going to start your card. Can you see that? Ugh, okay. You're going to start your card going kind of corner to corner, but I'm going a little offset. So I'm going to be here to here. Perfect. And rub that on there. Great. And then I'm going to just cut this off. You can cut it right at this angle. That's fine, because you're going to make it exactly the size of the card. So I just flipped my card over and I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. And that's ready to go. All right. The next thing that I'm going to do is give myself some legs here. So this is the side I just cut off, and it's going to be at an angle, right? Because I cut it at an angle. I don't want to use that because it would be a weird shape. I'm going to stick this one here, and you just butt it up against there and press. Okay. And I'm going to cut this off. Now, ultimately, when you're going to trim this down, so don't worry about that. But ultimately, you're going to need straight edges to be able to do this. So I use my trimmer, because as nice as I think I can cut a straight edge with my scissors, I don't. So I'm just going to stick it in my trimmer off camera here and give myself a little flat edge to work with. And then I'm going to come up here, butt it up against there, kind of do it at an angle, butt it up against there, and then drop it down and rub. Okay, so this, while I'm filling in here, I'm going to talk. This is really good to use with your 6x6 sheets, the ones that come in the pack, because when you're going to cut a panel for a card, let's say out of one of those florals, you're going to have a lot of little pieces left over. Hang on to them because this is perfect for that. Okay, now I'm going to use my wider piece, and I'm just going to butt it up against here. My kids would be all impressed that I'm saying butt. Okay, that's where we've been these days in COVID. All right, so that one's here, and I'm just going to go around the card like a windmill. And a lot of people do this in a different way. It does not, see, I tried to make it straight and I did not. I just can't do it. Is that better? All right, a lot of people will do it in a different pattern. You could do all of them going just this way, you know, whatever you want. This is just the way I'm doing mine. You guys are going to upload your cards, so I'm going to see them. If you are not a demonstrator on my team, you're welcome to send me a picture of your card and I can feature it on my Facebook page. I would be glad to do that. Not my team page. That's just for my team, but I would be glad to put it on my Art Crafty Playdate page. Okay, I'm going to trim this because to try and cut it straight is just not going to work. We learned that the hard way. All right, and now I'm going this way. So I've just worked around I've gone around the horn here, see? Okay, so clip, done. That's pretty straight. All right, so that's my big thick strip. The next thing that I'm going to do here is my solid color. And I'm only doing this so that you don't go blind, because if I just do all these patterns next to each other, it's just too much. And again, these are just little leftovers, right? You don't need to actually cut a lot to do this intentionally, unless you really are trying to make a beautiful card. But this is going to be beautiful just because it is. All right, there's a piece here. I'm going to hold on to that. I'll show you why later. Here's a piece up here. So you butt it up at an angle is the trick, like this. Otherwise it sticks down. Now, if I didn't use adhesive sheets, if you don't have these, it's okay. You really don't have to. Each time, though, I would want to put another piece down. I would want to put snail. I would want to put snail on it, or whatever our adhesive is called now. And then I would stick it down here the same way. It just makes it faster with not having to goop up my scissors. I'm not gooping up my scissors at all by using adhesive sheet. And also, I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now I have done this stripe, this stripe, this stripe. I'm going to use the pink. Here we go. And that's just the opposite side of this same paper that I used for the chubby. Okay, so I am going to put that here. And so I'm just going around each side next to the Mary Merlot strip in order. I'm going to square that off on my trimmer because I'm just not perfect. That's just the way I am. All right. Good. And one more here. And it is natural for you to have one side that needs more stripes than another side because we did it off center to give it more interest. But this one's going to be long enough, I betcha. We'll see. If it's not, I know where I've got more scraps, so we're good. Where did I do this? On this side. Oh, I already did it there. It's this right here. Okay, so next to the Merlot, I have done the skinny one. And now, what did I do on the next one? I did this other paper that I showed you, this one. But I did this side. I probably would have done the gold, but this is very gold compared. Each one will look a little different. But let's see what I've got here. Is that straight? No, you think it is, but it's not. Okay, so I'm going to do one more here. You're getting the idea, right? If you want, you can fast forward it and you're not going to hurt my feelings. Okay, and here. All right, and I have two little spaces here that have, no, this one still needs this guy. Okay, so I have two stripes beyond the Merlot all the way around, except here where I just didn't need it. And now I've got a little extra space. What do I want to do there? You could just pick any one of your patterns of paper, whatever you've got laying around. You could even, if you have a big piece that I cut off to square it up, I could just stick that right on there. Why don't I do that? Why don't I just make that pink? Okay, is that covering all the adhesive? Yeah, it's all covered. Okay, I just squeeze it down. You can burnish it if you want. You don't have to. Flip it over and cut. And it won't really gum up your scissors because none of that has adhesive on it. My scissors are gummed up already because I put a little of the other adhesive on there. But you just kind of go around the square. Right. Right. I hear you laughing. It's a rectangle. I got it. Okay. So anyway, this works great for 6x6, just FYI. Okay, so there's my panel. Those all go on the floor. I still have lots of pieces, so you might get a card from me. Okay, then this is going to get glued on here. You can use liquid glue. You can use the other snail, whatever you prefer. I am going to use liquid glue because it's a little bit heavier, this piece, because it's got lots of layers of paint. I even checked this glue to make sure right before I turned on my camera. Sorry. Doesn't need a lot, but it needs a little more than that. All right, well, that's going to do for now. Okay, so then you just put it on there. And then you're going to put more on here. Oh, please. You could put dimensionals on here if you wanted to, but you really don't have to. And the reason that I'm not going to, now this one, remember, it's not a normal size panel. It's a little bit smaller because I wanted a bigger, wider frame around this piece. So be careful when you're putting that on there. So you guys didn't believe me. You don't really need a lot of glue on these projects. They will hold. So here is the final piece. I would still stamp something and cut it out and put it on a sentiment or something, or a flower, and put it anywhere on here is really going to be very pretty. Maybe right here because I have a little glue mark. I would probably put it right there. But I would put a sentiment on it, but then it is ready to go. And you could make a bunch of these just with all of your scraps. But we use this paper. You can use whatever you want. If you're on my team, please be sure that you post your picture by April 1st. And that will qualify you for the drawing. And I cannot wait to see your submissions. If you're not part of my team and you want to be part of my team, let me know. And I will definitely send you some information on that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you liked this tip. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything else, and be sure to check how to use those multi-purpose sheets. You can actually just search my site for keywords and probably pull up a couple of videos on that. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.